special Italian wedding cookies that you guys are all going to get in a little while. Okay, kids, you notice I got your mother in her most natural pose? One of these days. Alright, so back to my story. This place where I worked, they had a very strange rule that if we shipped something that was defective and it got returned, the shipping crew didn't have to unload it. Whichever department had made it had to send people over to do that. So one night on the railroad dock, there appeared this hot blonde in tight jeans and like a sleeveless t-shirt, and she came over there with some of her workmates to unload this railroad car. The railroad dock, as you might imagine, was a pretty tough place. The guys that worked there weren't exactly gentlemen. In fact, they made me they called me the checker, which was kind of in charge of the dock, and the only reason it was me is because not only was I the only guy that could read and write, I was the only guy that knew which end of a pencil to use. So anyway, so one night, Laura appears on the dock, and she has no choice really but to look around and see who she could trust to protect her out there. And naturally, she chose me. And I did. I took care of her that night. And after that, she pretty much started stalking me until I married her. No, really, she started stalking me until I realized that she was the only person on earth that I could trust. She was the only one that I could trust with my dreams and plans and stupid ideas, all the stuff that I couldn't share with anybody else. Hold on. So we did get married, and she started making these babies. The first one that came along was my Angela. Angela was a miracle right from the start. She came along and she changed my life, I think, in many ways more than even my wife had. There was one big problem. When she was very young, she didn't like me one bit. No, really. So for like the first 2 years, she wouldn't much like it if I fed her or put her to bed. She was so attached to her mother. I mean, it used to break my heart. We used to put her in her stroller and go cruising down the street. Laura would be pushing the stroller, and we'd get her going, and without breaking stride or anything, we would switch. And I would start pushing the stroller, and somehow Angela would know. She would stick her little head around and start screaming. That's the kind of kid she was. So anyway, fortunately she grew out of that, and we developed a very good relationship. I coached her in baseball when she was, I'm thinking, 9. She decided that she wanted to be the only girl playing in the boys' little league, and so I coached her, and she had to trust me on lots of things. I had to teach her, for example, how to handle a screaming line drive. Remember the way you do that, girls? Boys know this naturally, but girls have to learn that you stick your face right in front of it, and you line up the ball with your glove in your eyes and so forth, and that's how you catch it. So she did that. We spent a lot of time in the backyard with me heaving fastballs at her head, pretty much as hard as I could. And she was then, and she still is. She's fearless. Let's see here.
You win.
No, it's not going to be that long. So we spent a lot of time doing things like that, and we grew together, and we So anyway, we got out of that. She grew up, she graduated, she went off to college. Then she went to grad school in New York, and she blossomed into a very wonderful young lady. There's nothing that I would not trust Angela with. And I think that if you asked her, she would say the same thing about me. She is as purely good a person as I have ever known. Now, Kevin. You might as well know that Angela always had a boyfriend. She pretty much started dating in fourth grade. One after another, these guys would show up at my house. And we were nice to all of them. And I had a lot of fun watching them squirm down at my dining room table. But after she went to New York, there was a change. All of a sudden, there were no boyfriends. And I thought, what was up with that? And then actually one day I actually asked her, I said, Angela, how come no boyfriend? And she said something to me, I'll never forget it. She said something to me like, she hadn't run across any guys that she could trust to be a real man like me. Oh. I mean, really, she actually said that. And I thought, well, this is getting good. She's obviously a very wise young lady. So anyway, so she finished grad school. She came home. She started her career. She was working a lot. She hung around with her high school girlfriends a lot, many of whom are here tonight. And by the way, have you guys checked out this head table? Ow! Ow! From this side over, I don't know if I've ever seen a more beautiful, talented group of young women in my life. Woo! And where is Miss Catherine Davis? Please stand up. Then, one day, almost 2 years ago, I sensed a major buzz in the house. Angela had crossed paths with some new guy. She was working her summer job at the Glen Club at the halfway house. Apparently some stud had cruised by and swept her off her feet. Nobody told me anything about it. Until about a month later, I was told that we were having dinner with the new guy. Which brings me back to you. The first thing I'm going to tell you, Mr. Kevin, is that there are only 2 people on earth as lucky as you. And the first one is the guy out there somewhere who will manage to win over my beautiful Valerie. Valerie knows that she's really my favorite daughter. And I hope that she knows that she has a very special, very large place in my heart. I'm very blessed. There's nothing I can say about Angela that I cannot also say about my Valerie.
True that.
Someday might tame my son John.
Oh.
The only thing I can tell you about John is that despite his obvious lack of good looks, in my house since he was a little boy, he's been known simply as the king of the known world. And now that we've seen what a fine young man he's turned into, we wonder if it wasn't more than just a So back to Kevin. What was different about him, I wonder? It's kind of a guy thing, I know, but I'll tell you. When I first met Kevin, it was very apparent right away that he was not afraid. He wasn't afraid of me. He wasn't afraid of Angela, which I can tell you takes some doing. You know, as a father, you look for, you know, he did all the right things. You know, he looked you in the eye when he talked to you. He wasn't shy. When he had something to say, he said it without worrying about whether you were going to like it. I mean, he wasn't there to impress anybody. He was himself. And by being that way, he impressed me right out of the bat. Fortunately, we have a lot of things in common. He's a Cubs fan, so we share some of that craziness. He lives for Notre Dame football. Yes. It's one of my other afflictions. In fact, I'll tell you, if you ever run into Kevin in a tavern, watching a Notre Dame Michigan, don't dare say anything bad about the Irish.